An absolute embarrassing fucking loss for the New England Patriots, and their fuck-ups come back to bite them in the ass. 25-24 final. Let's get into this breakdown. Cannot believe that they still lost that game. And the offense actually had themselves a pretty solid day overall. They were extremely efficient. Unfortunately, they just could not come through in the red zone and in crucial situations where it really mattered. And of course, a 25-yard missed field goal right before the end of the half. Pretty good clock management there by the Patriots coaching staff, bringing the ball all the way down into the red zone, not allowing the Colts really to get a chance to have a drive there at the end of the half. And not only should they have expanded their lead to 19-14 at the time, but I mean, Joey Sly just absolutely shanks which was an absolute gimme field goal there, pretty much an extra point, and that was extremely embarrassing. I can't even put that on the coaching staff. Joey Sly, you just have to kick that field goal in. I do not know how you missed that. Honestly, the snap didn't look great. Did look like Bryce Behringer was a little late in putting the ball down, but it's a 25-yard field goal, man. You got to make that kick. On the day, though, Drake May looked really efficient against zone coverage, and you could see how the Colts really shifted their defensive philosophy early on in this game with Drake May just taking off for that 40-yard scramble there. Really changed how the Colts defense was playing. And they play a lot of zone to begin with, but for the rest of the game, it was basically just strictly zone unless they were blitzing. And Drake May absolutely torched their defense on the day. And unfortunately, if they just converted in the red area, this really would have been a blowout win for the Patriots. The Colts really did not have any answers for this Patriots offense, especially with how they were just playing zone at a constant will. Patriots were doing a real nice job in the run game for the most part, especially on the outside zone, which was a little surprising how this team usually struggles in that area. But Antonio Gibson had some really nice runs there, really took advantage of his speed on the day. Of course, had that touchdown there where he just fit through that narrow gap there and it eventually put the Patriots up there. And unfortunately, they were unable to hold that lead. But this was probably the most balanced attack that the Patriots have had in a while. And they were playing really efficient. And whether it was just because of how the Colts were really playing them from a defensive standpoint, or that this offense is just continuing to gain rhythm and the play calling has gotten better from Alex Van Pelt, this offense looks really good. Drake May looked really good on the day. Had that dot to Austin Hooper for the touchdown there, a real nice pass, or a real nice good pass there. Had several lasers across the middle of the field to guys like Bourne and Kayshon Boutte on big third down drives or third down plays, as well as second and longs that really kept the Patriots ahead of the chains there. And even when the Patriots did have some holding penalties, the team was still able to overcome it and move the ball down the field. And that was because Drake May was just strictly making really nice passes there. And on the day, I believe Hunter Henry was once again the leading receiver for this team. I believe he had 7 for 75 yards or something like that. But he got the guys involved, and it was good to see that this receiver room had multiple guys step up big in this game, like Kendrick Bourne as well as Kayshon Boutte. And Pop Douglas had himself a pretty good day. Unfortunately, there was a touchdown taken back because Pop was not set. But fortunately for the Patriots, they did end up scoring the next play with that Gibson run. But this was an encouraging game for the offense, really everywhere except for the red zone. In the red zone, they just did not have it today, whether it was their own stupidity in terms of holding calls or frankly just missing plays that should have been made. It was pretty embarrassing to see how this team just did not convert drives. And they really kept the Colts in this game. And unfortunately, the Colts finally were able to overcome that hurdle of that Anthony Richardson game. And they were able to take the lead there with around 12 seconds left in the game there. But, I mean, the offense played well, but you have to be better in the red area. And I honestly don't even think it was entirely on the offense. They had some unfortunate luck with that interception. Drake May did throw it a little bit behind Hunter Henry there. Got to put that ball right on his chest. You have to make that throw there. And really, that was probably his worst throw on the day. And unfortunately, it came back to bite the Patriots. But even more, it was just a really unlucky bounce that just ended up right into the Colts defender's hands there. So the Colts kind of caught a bit of a break on that. And as I said before, that 25-yard missed field goal, that is unacceptable. But like I said before, it was a good day for the backs. Ramondre Stevenson had a couple very solid runs in there, including a 30-yard run. I don't think it was the opening play, but I do believe it was the second play of the game. The offensive line was able to create himself a big hole there. And, of course, Ramondre doing what Ramondre does, makes a couple guys miss for a big 30-yarder there. And it was a little quiet for the rest of the day, but he did what he had to do, really got some tough yardage there. Got pretty lucky. He did have a fumble, but it did bounce right back to him. And Antonio Gibson had himself a really good day from that scat back roll. He was really taking advantage of the outside zone and had a really nice couple of cutbacks where he was able to kind of extend some plays. And as I alluded to before, real nice vision by him there in the red zone, getting that touchdown there, 2nd and 10, hit that hole and just absolutely took advantage there. So real nice job there by Antonio Gibson, as well as Ramondre Stevenson having himself a solid day. Got himself a little bit into the passing game as well. I believe he came away with 2 receptions in this game. So that's always encouraging to see. I would like to get these backs a little more involved in this receiving game, especially Antonio Gibson, because that's kind of what he was known for, especially in his time in Washington, a really good receiving back. If Alex Van Pelt could kind of incorporate him a little more into this passing game, I do think that this offense would be even more dynamic and more difficult to stop, especially with Drake May's ability to extend plays. And if he's able to kind of hit these backs out of the backfield on some short yardage plays, I do think that this will eventually help out the team, especially in the short yardage scenarios where at times this team has struggled. And speaking of short yardage scenarios, it was kind of interesting to see how Alex Van Pelt brought in Jacoby Brissett for kind of that fake QB sneak and had that little end around there to Kendrick Bourne. Always interesting to kind of see how these offensive coordinators incorporate some different packages there and some decoys. Even had, I believe, Marcus Jones in the game for another snap on offense there. That helped take advantage for the Patriots. Kind of a little bit of a tight end shovel pass to Hunter Henry there. So real nice decoy work there by Marcus Jones as well as Jacoby Brissett. And Alex Van Pelt is becoming a little more creative. But I will not lie, the offensive line at times struggled in this game. I don't want to say that they had an absolute terrible game because I do think that they did a pretty solid job in the run blocking and pass protection, but they just keep shooting themselves in the foot with these penalties and the miscommunications. And unfortunately, it did halt a lot of drives that the Patriots had today. 2 in particular that I was thinking about, it was right off the first interception, the Jelani Tavai tip drill that the Patriots were able to come away with on a 3rd and 1, I believe it was, an absolute miscommunication between Mike Onwenu, Ben Brown, and Demontre Jacobs there, where someone gets absolutely unblocked into the red zone. I believe Mike Onwenu thought that they were going to perform a duo block there across the middle and maybe have Demontre Jacobs kind of seal the guy off inside to allow Ramondre Stevenson to get a one-on-one matchup on the edge there. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. The guy just ran completely by Mike Onwenu, and it just absolutely blew up the play there. And that led to a 3-and-out. Fortunately for the Patriots, Joey Slye was able to make a long field goal there. But, I mean, that's just one of those where if you convert that, who knows? Maybe the way your offenses really have been moving on the day, maybe you could end up getting 7 instead of 3. And then early, I believe it was actually on the second drive, where the Patriots had 2 holding penalties on the 1-yard line back-to-back. And, I mean, that just absolutely can't happen. You just have to find a way to punch that ball in. I know they had that direct snap to Ramondre Stevenson, and he was able to score that touchdown. Unfortunately, the Mike Onwenu holding really brought that play back. Then I believe it was Demontre Jacobs holding right after that on the passing attack, and they're down 20 yards. But like I said before, if you score 7 there, it's a different outcome instead of the 3 that you ended up getting, as well as, maybe if you don't miss a 25-yard field goal there. So, like I said before, Patriots overall pretty efficient day everywhere but the red zone, and that's something that has to improve upon. And they really had this game, and they just absolutely gave it away. Moving over to the defensive side of the ball today, I do think that the Patriots did play well enough on this side of the football to win this game, especially given the chances that they allowed this offense to really kind of convert off of with 2 takeaways. However, it was not a perfect game. And when it really mattered most, this defense could not get the most critical stop, and they ended up allowing the game-winning touchdown and 2-point conversion. So anytime that happens, the defense has to take it on the chin, like they did today. And early on in this game, I was actually wrote down that DeMarcus Covington has no idea what he's doing. For one of the plays, it was actually, I believe, a pass interference penalty against Jelani Tavai, who had a really good day himself. And unfortunately, I think that this wasn't his fault on this play. I think that the scheme really let him down, or at least the play selection. I believe he was lined up on the line of scrimmage, and they were in zone coverage, but DeMarcus Covington or this Patriots staff expected Jelani Tavai to get around 20 yards deep in his zone drop back, and he absolutely got burned by Michael Pittman on no part to Jelani Tavai's. I don't know why that's a matchup at all. Or maybe if it was a miscommunication in the secondary where one of the safeties was not in the proper spot. But I do not know why Jelani Tavai was really the only zone defender, it looked like, on that side of the field for that pass interference penalty. And then I believe it was close to the red area where it was a 2nd 11, 2nd 12, and DeMarcus Covington had everyone in the secondary about 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, and Anthony Richardson on the day absolutely really struggled in tight press coverage. I did not remember a lot of times where he made the plays that really kind of beat the Patriots in terms of that press coverage, but this was still early on in the game, so I will give him the benefit of the doubt. Hindsight is, of course, undefeated there, but I mean, it let Anthony Richardson just get into a little bit of a rhythm there. Absolute quick wide receiver screen, pickup of 10 yards, 3rd and short, and of course, Indianapolis was able to convert on that 3rd and short with Jonathan Taylor, and there was I believe it was their second touchdown drive there. And speaking of, I do think that there are still a ton of miscommunications in this secondary, or on the defense just as a whole. I believe Jonathan Taylor's first touchdown of the day, it was kind of a little bit of scramble mode by the Patriots defense. Maybe Jerome Mayo should have called a timeout in that scenario, but just left Jonathan Taylor unchecked out of the backfield there, and no one was even close to him on that side of the field, as a matter of fact, and it was basically a walk-in touchdown. Jonathan Taylor did a real nice job of just keeping his body in bounds there, but I will say there have been a couple of Patriots standout players on this defense. I want to give a real big shout-out to Alex Austin on the day. I believe he was targeted a total of 5 times and did not allow a reception. However, he did get a little too handsy with Michael Pittman on that 3rd and long in the late scenario of the game. You cannot commit a penalty in that spot. If they make a great play against you on one-on-one coverage, then you have to do that, but you cannot give them penalty yardage, especially on 3rd down. That just gives them the first down there. But Alex Austin played really well in man coverage today, or just coverage in general, and I wanted to give him a quick shout-out. And, of course, Christian Gonzalez, absolute stellar day. That interception, that was absolute blanket coverage, and Gonzo just showing why he's one of the best corners in the league. That was very encouraging, and an encouraging sign there. The Patriots didn't play the run that poorly today. However, I do think that really when the Colts needed to, they were still able to gash the Patriots. I believe it was actually that field goal drive coming out of the half where I believe it was a 14-play drive, and the Colts ran it 12 times out of the 14 plays. And that's just really a discouraging sign for this run defense. But there were times where guys were able to get some pressure up the middle, like Daniel Quale and Jeremiah Farms in particular, and were able to have a couple of run stuffs. Christian Barmore had a really nice run stuff on that last drive where the Colts did score that touchdown, but forced the Colts into that 3rd and long, and I believe it was actually the play right before the Alex Austin penalty. And Marcus Jones had a really nice pass breakup where I believe he actually got beat. It looked like man coverage, or at least he was in a trailing position, but just a real nice job of playing the wide receiver's hands and getting his head around there. Made it a really nice play there that I do believe actually forced the 3rd and long there. So there were times where this Patriots secondary had a really great day, and I do think that, unfortunately, untimely penalties and just really this run defense did let the Patriots down today. They forced multiple turnovers against Anthony Richardson, so there was really no excuse for this Patriots team to lose this game. But at the end there, you cannot allow a 19-play scoring drive to lose that game. That's on the defense at that point. And I understand they forced the takeaway on the drive prior to that, and the offense, of course, goes 3 and out. But it's still unacceptable to allow a 19-play drive there. So I do think that the defense played well enough to whereas if the offense executed in the scenarios that they needed to, this would have been a blowout Patriots win. But unfortunately, the offense didn't do that. And really, when the Patriots felt that pressure, that Patriots defense, they were unable to get the Colts off the field. So just not good complimentary football once again from this team. And you got to... I don't want to throw the coaches under the bus here, but you have to take a look at the coaching staff. If this is happening multiple weeks in a row, you kind of thought how the Patriots, especially after that Chicago game, and even against the Rams, they played rather well compared to the competition they were facing. And even today, I would say that they played pretty well in most areas. But you had to take a look at the coaching staff because when they fail like this in the way that they have with easy miscues that should be fixable, like holding calls, illegal formation, stuff like that, that could potentially like help this team out in terms of penalty yardage. It's a poor reflection on the coaching staff, and it shows a little bit of undiscipline either with the players or that the coaching staff is not coaching correctly. So I don't want to absolutely just torch the coaching staff here, but honestly, you'd be absolutely asinine if you didn't take a look at this coaching staff with this team continuing to repeat the same types of errors. And I like Gerard Mayo. I don't think that it's all on him. I don't think it's all on AVP, and I don't think it's all on DeMarcus Covington. But these guys have to find ways to execute when they need to in areas that they need to most. And this team has to start overcoming adversity. And I thought that the offense did that at times today, as well as the defense. But at any little bit of adversity that this team faces, it's really been the past couple years here in New England. They really just have not been able to overcome it, and they have such a short, narrow of victory, whereas if they don't execute that narrow of a victory, then they have no chance of winning these games. An absolutely brutal choke job loss here by the Patriots, as I said before. And this is the game really where if guys don't return next year on this coaching staff, I think that this might be a game that is highlighted for this Patriots ownership in not having these guys return. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if this is really a defining loss of the Patriots season, and if they can rebound and hopefully get some momentum heading into next season or not. But once again, thank you so much again for watching.